I'm a 32-year-old who, after a breakup, decided abruptly to resign and come to Australia alone to study abroad. I made this life-changing decision in just one day. Reflecting on 4 years ago, after more than 8 years in Canada, I had naively believed that I could build a new life for myself in China through my own efforts. However, reality proved my aspirations too idealistic. Back in China for 4 years, I faced numerous setbacks: a breakup after a 7-year relationship, career struggles, and parental pressure to marry. As an adult, I felt like I was on the brink of collapse. Nights were filled with anxiety, fear, and insomnia, often doubting myself and questioning life's meaning daily. My parents and relatives insisted that, at my age, I should secure a stable job, get married, and start a family. But deep down, I knew this wasn't the life I wanted. Perhaps taking a break was necessary for me to move forward. For older women, studying abroad is an adventure in life. Many choose to leave their homeland and study in a foreign country with a radically different cultural background, perhaps due to age discrimination, gender discrimination in the workplace in China, and pressure from parents to marry. In China, they strive every day but cannot see the future they desire. Studying abroad may offer better job opportunities and a better future.
Hello，大家好，我是 CC。
Hello everyone, I'm Cece, an older student studying in Tokyo. Since arriving in Tokyo, the question I've been asked the most is why, at the age of 35, I chose to study abroad. A year ago today, I made the most absurd choice of my life. As an older woman, I gave up a comfortable life in China to study in Tokyo. It wasn't brave me that drove me, but fear. Compared to the difficulties I faced in Japan, I feared more the mediocre life and the endless routine back home. I no longer wanted to debate which restaurant to go to each night or which friends to meet. Even activities like enrolling children in tutoring or after-school classes lost their meaning. It was then that I started to ponder if I should make a change. By chance, I learned that I could apply for a study visa through a language school to go abroad and see for myself. Now, after 7 months in Tokyo, my life is simple yet fulfilling. I study Japanese, travel, work part-time, and even live stream to share the experiences of older students in Tokyo. I've begun to converse with locals and have earned rewards through my efforts. At 35, I received an invitation from the Jung Society, and I'm grateful that I took a gamble on Japan. The current environment for living and working in China is different from before, prompting many to contemplate where their lives are heading. Japan, as a unique and charming country, attracts countless older women to study abroad. Through her studies in Japan, Cece has gained a comprehensive understanding and experience of Japanese culture. For many, studying abroad is a vital pathway to advancing their careers. Perhaps in their minds, a mundane life was never what they desired, which is why they chose to journey to every corner of the world.
一个女人40岁不结婚，跑到欧洲来颠沛流离。
I'm a 40-year-old woman who didn't get married and came to Europe, leading a nomadic life. Let me share with you today what life has been for me lately. Honestly, I never expected to reach nearly 40 and still be unmarried and without children. I've had many boyfriends before, and I've been very clear with them that I really wanted to get married, but for various reasons, those relationships didn't work out in the end. Many people are curious why, at this age, I chose to study abroad. It's because my life really started to blossom after I turned 30. I learned how to swim. I learned snowboarding, all the way in Finland. I used to work at an internet company, bought a house, and achieved one of my life goals. Now the work in China is too demanding, so I decided to continue improving myself by starting studies abroad. At 40, I want to follow my own consciousness and manage my own life on my own terms. Dailin studied communication theory at the Department of Literature and Philosophy under the Humanities faculty at the University of Florence. Dailin loves traveling. Before studying abroad, she had visited over 20 countries. Currently, she is taking advantage of Italy's postgraduate work visa policy to extend her stay by another year. She has found a part-time job opportunity with a local media outlet, which allows her to pursue her passion for traveling. This was one of her motivations for studying in Italy. She wants to live in many unfamiliar cities for a while, observe their sunrises and sunsets, walk their main streets, observe the lives of locals, explore museums carefully, and truly experience the world around her. Dailin feels that her previous self was stuck in a certain job for many years, living in one city for many years, in a state of being stuck. Studying abroad has helped her break free from this feeling of stagnancy. Dailin said, "I'm 41 years old, and I don't know where the currents of fate will eventually take me. I might meet my ideal partner in the future. I might really fulfill my dream of traveling the world. I might earn a lot of money. For me, everything is possible. Everything is hopeful. The study abroad experience has reshaped me. I've become brave and confident." Many career women, after becoming wealthy in China, like to go abroad to experience the customs of other countries and experience things they haven't experienced before.
大龄女生还有必要出国留学吗？
In terms of postgraduate studies abroad, is it necessary for a 50-year-old to study art for a year? Before going abroad, I thought that some women might have such doubts. At that time, I hesitated for a long time and decided to study abroad. I studied for a master's in fashion management at Parsons School of Design, which is ranked first among art schools in the United States. I think that studying abroad not only enhances my academic qualifications and knowledge, but also brings about some significant changes in my mindset and perspective. The most obvious change is that I feel more willing to enjoy life, and my perspective on things has become more comprehensive. In China, it seems that everyone is rushing around. Immediately after graduation, they dare not waste any time and rush to take postgraduate exams or civil service exams. Under this big environment, parents urge us to marry and have children when we reach a certain age. I feel like I have no time to breathe at all. After going abroad, I have increasingly discovered that the idea that you should have accomplished certain things by a certain age is a form of self-imprisonment. We don't need to limit ourselves as long as we don't burden others. We can do whatever we want. Many unmarried older women may have been successful in academics but have difficulty in finding a partner. They're pressured by their parents to marry. Chen Yiding chose to escape the current environment by studying abroad. Abroad, she seems to have relaxed her entire state. On social platforms, she showcases various fashionable outfits and creates a novel and unique personal image through the combination of different elements. She also provides live videos of fashion shows, previews of new products, tips on designing luxury clothing, and most importantly, fashion inspiration. On the Chinese social media platform Xiaohongshu, older age studying abroad is a hot topic, with over 56 million reads for related tags. Especially, many Chinese women around the age of 30 or older choose to study abroad. The popularity of this topic skyrocketed after the lockdown in Shanghai and has continued unabated ever since. On June 24th, Claudia Ke, a 35-year-old woman from Shanghai, was interviewed by the South China Morning Post. She is among many Chinese women in their 30s who have decided to pursue graduate studies abroad. Since August 2023, Claudia spent 5 months in Burgundy, a wine-producing region in France. Previously, she worked at Vogue Beijing and later at Lane Crawford in Shanghai before attempting to establish her own consulting firm. In early April 2022, Claudia experienced over 2 months of lockdown in her Shanghai community, which she described as a hellish experience. During this time, the societal and political atmosphere became tense and suffocating. Living alone, she faced situations where food was scarce, often unsure of where her next meal would come from. She had to meticulously calculate and plan her food consumption every day. She couldn't help but wonder how elderly people managed to obtain enough food through mobile phones. However, for those elderly who were not familiar with shopping apps, acquiring food online was difficult. Residents trapped inside protested against the limited food supply on WeChat groups and social media, while government drones ensured that everyone protesting the lockdown from their balconies was swiftly subdued. On May 1st, 2022, Claudia received a call from her mother urging her to leave and pursue a master's degree in a new country where she could start fresh. Initially interested in studying abroad, Claudia's anxiety grew during the lockdown, leading to depression. The sight of officials in protective gear kicking doors and the feeling of exhaustion from the situation further drained her. By the time Shanghai lifted the lockdown in June, Claudia had convinced herself that she could do better elsewhere and began preparing to leave. Claudia said, "It took me 10 days to decide whether to leave. I loved Shanghai deeply, but reality hit me hard. I had to leave." A month later, she returned to her birthplace, Beijing, and reunited with her mother, and began applying to schools across Europe. Eventually, she was admitted to Burgundy School of Business for an MBA program. Before heading to France in the summer of 2023, she sold her consulting firm. Perhaps the 3-year zero-COVID campaign in China, marked by frequent lockdowns, mass nucleic acid testing, and extensive quarantines, became the final straw for many. Claudia Ke is one of many Chinese women in their 30s who have chosen to pursue graduate studies abroad. Reasons for women in this age group choosing to study abroad vary, including pressure to marry, shattered career aspirations due to the post-pandemic economic downturn, tightened political control by the CCP, as well as gender and age discrimination in the workplace. What kind of female demographic chooses to study abroad through this path? Primarily, they are white-collar professionals, office workers, or in sales, who may have benefited from the boom in the real estate market and the dividends of the internet era. They typically hold bachelor's or associate's degrees, not belonging to the relatively low-income groups. However, they see the current domestic environment as potentially unstable, with concerns about job security or their future prospects. As a result, many of them proactively plan to go abroad, studying abroad as a viable option. Recently, Huxiu.com published a story about 3 older female students, including Rachel, who worked at a major Chinese internet company. The departments she worked at dissolved twice, with her responsibilities constantly shifting on a monthly basis. Despite rapid changes, overtime and late nights remained the norm. Eventually, she quit her job, using her entire savings of 500,000 RMB to study abroad. When Rachel first joined the internet giant, she viewed her female superior as a role model for her career aspirations, a capable, high-salary executive with stability and assets in Beijing. However, seeing her boss exhausted from commuting daily from Shijingshan, especially after returning to work shortly after her maternity leave, Rachel decided against pursuing that kind of success. Rachel's undergraduate degree was in international economics and trade. For her graduate studies abroad, she chose a program in quantitative methods and analysis, akin to data analytics, involving software learning and basic programming knowledge. Initially, Rachel felt very anxious upon arriving in the U.S. Besides financial worries, she faced academic and social pressures. For nearly 6 months, she struggled with language anxiety, enduring significant communication barriers while juggling part-time work, which strained her energy to the limit. Nevertheless, this period of studying abroad has enriched her life with unique perspectives and broadened her life experiences. Studying abroad represents a pivotal turning point in one's life, not merely a pursuit of knowledge and academia, but also a shaping of one's lifestyle and worldview. Today, an increasing number of women are choosing to study abroad, seeking to redefine their lives. Following the outbreak of the COVID-19 pandemic, discussions on Chinese social media about running surged. It wasn't just many Chinese women opting for continuing education programs abroad, but also more Chinese people choosing to leave China post-pandemic. Many parents are now sending their children abroad for studies. According to WeChat data, searches related to emigration on Chinese networks reached 33 million in 2022, about 5 times higher than in 2021. WeChat subsequently reviewed the search data for the specific term. After 2 years of border closures due to the pandemic, China reopened its borders in 2023, leading to increased demand for overseas education among Chinese families. This was partly driven by the economic downturn in China, drastic drops in real estate values, and a severe job market with persistently high unemployment rates. Up to 70% of Chinese households have most of their assets tied up in real estate. Chinese students are increasingly willing to study abroad to obtain degrees from various prestigious overseas universities to improve their career prospects. Hailing from Shanghai and currently studying in the UK, Ms. Huang stated that the Chinese government's handling of the pandemic has encouraged more young people to go abroad. She said, after 3 years of strict control during the pandemic, most people have realized that the outside world is different and they are more willing to leave. However, those who can't leave feel anxious and disappointed. Talking about leaving affects plans for marriage and family, more so than the direct impact of immigration. Known among friends as the Master of Running Studies, Bart mentioned that friends leaving China are often between the ages of 25 and 45, with sufficient financial means to quickly adapt to life overseas. He noted that for these individuals, living in China versus abroad is like comparing 2 different dishes. After making the comparison, they know which dish they prefer. Now, in their 30s or 40s and capable, they choose to eat the dish that suits their tastes.